Welcome back to F1 Blogs.
Right back at you.
So we are here today to dive deep into the absolute chaos that erupted after the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah, March 23rd, 2025, a date that will live in infamy.
Okay, maybe infamy is a bit strong.
Well, for Ferrari fans, it's pretty close.
Yeah, no kidding. But seriously, folks, if you thought the race itself was wild, the aftermath was something else entirely. Post-race checks the FIA always does. You know, standard procedure.
Right, scrutineering, everyone goes through it.
Exactly. But this time, oh boy, this time it uncovered some serious rule breaking. Like stuff that sent shockwaves through the paddock.
Multiple teams, multiple infringements, and it all snowballed from there.
It did. Okay, so let's tackle the Ferrari elephant in the room. A double disqualification. It's almost like something out of a dark comedy. I mean, both their cars, Hamilton and Leclerc, were deemed to have violated technical regulations.
And not just any minor infractions either. These were biggies. The kind that get you booted out of the race, no questions asked.
So walk us through it. What exactly happened with Hamilton? He was initially 6th, right? And he had that sprint race win, too.
He did. But it all came down to that pesky plank under his car. Too much wear and tear, they said.
Ah, yes. The infamous skid plank. For our listeners who aren't gearheads, this thing's crucial. It's a safety feature, of course. But it also stops teams from running their cars super low to the ground, you know, like trying to cheat the aerodynamics.
Right, got to keep things fair, level playing field and all that.
Exactly. So the FIA did their measurements, and wouldn't you know it, Hamilton's plank was below the legal limit. 8.6 millimeters in a couple of places, 8.5 in another. And the minimum, according to the rulebook article 3.5.9e of the technical regulations, if you want to be precise, is 9 millimeters.
So we're talking about fractions of a millimeter here, right? Tiny discrepancies.
Right. Tiny discrepancies, but huge implications. Because that's a disqualification, no arguments. And to their credit, Ferrari didn't even try to dispute the measurements. They owned up to it, said it was a team error, a miscalculation.
They claim there was no intention to gain an advantage, which, you know, I believe. It's not like they deliberately set out to shave off millimeters from the plank. But rules are rules, and ignorance is no excuse.
It's true. But here's the thing, and it's a little worrying for Ferrari. This isn't Hamilton's first rodeo with this particular issue. Remember back in 2023 at the U.S. Grand Prix? Same story, different driver. Leclerc was disqualified for excessive plank wear. So you've got to wonder, is there a pattern here?
Interesting point. 2 separate instances, years apart, both involving plank wear. Maybe it's a vulnerability in their design or the way they calculate wear and tear. Whatever it is, they need to figure it out fast because it's costing them dearly. I mean, Hamilton loses the 8 points from that 6th place finish. And the sprint race win? Gone, just like that. He's down to a measly 9 points, all from that 3rd place in Melbourne.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Okay, so that's Hamilton. Now let's move on to Leclerc. He finished 5th, right? So at least one Ferrari in the points. Or so we thought.
Yeah, that didn't last long. He was disqualified too. But this time it wasn't the plank, it was the weight of the car.
Underweight, to be precise. Now, I know the rules are strict about this. Minimum weight for an F1 car, no fuel, 800 kilograms. That's the magic number.
Absolutely. It's all about fairness, right? Can't have teams gaining an advantage by running their cars lighter than everyone else.
Right. So they weigh Leclerc's car after the race, and get this, it comes in at 799 kilograms.
1 kilogram short. And keep in mind, he had some damage from that collision with, well, Hamilton earlier in the race. They even reweighed it with a spare front wing attached to account for the missing bits. And even then, it was just barely above the limit.
And then, of course, they did what they always do, drained the remaining fuel, those last 2 liters.
As per the FIA regulations.
Yep. And guess what? The weight dropped right back down to 799 kilograms.
So even with the extra weight of the spare wing and before accounting for the remaining fuel, his car was still underweight. Not good.
Ferrari tried to argue that it was because of their one-stop strategy. They said it caused excessive tire wear, which somehow made the car lighter overall.
An interesting argument, but the stewards weren't buying it. The regulations are pretty clear-cut. Your car has to meet the weight limit, period, regardless of your strategy or tire wear.
It's a tough break for Leclerc. He loses those 10 points from 5th place, so now he's only got the 8 points from Australia and his sprint race performance. Another big hit for Ferrari.
2 drivers, 2 disqualifications, 0 points from the Grand Prix. Ouch!
It's got to be a tough pill to swallow for the prancing horse. But wait, there's more.
Oh, yes. The drama doesn't end there.
Because guess what? Ferrari wasn't the only team struggling with weight issues. Pierre Gasly of Alpine, he got disqualified too. Same reason as Leclerc. Underweight car.
By 1 kilogram. Another team, another weight-related headache.
And this is a big blow for Alpine, right? They had those weight troubles last season, and they've been working so hard to fix them. So to have this happen, it's a major setback.
It is a real gut punch. And while Gasly was outside the points anyway, finishing 11th, it still shows they haven't fully conquered those demons.
Right. It's all about those fine margins, isn't it? Every little bit counts in Formula One.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got 3 disqualifications, all for technical infringements. And that, my friends, leads to one heck of a shakeup in the final standings.
It's like a domino effect. And the biggest winner, Carlos Sainz.
Let's talk about a lucky break. He originally finished 13th, miles away from the points, but with all those disqualifications, guess what? He's bumped up to 10th.
10th place. His first point for Williams in only his second race with the team. It must feel like a victory celebration over there.
I bet they're popping champagne corks in the Williams garage. A point is a point, especially when you're a team trying to claw your way back up the grid. And it's all thanks to those disqualifications, Gasly's included.
Right. It's a chain reaction of fortune.
Yeah.
But Sainz wasn't the only beneficiary. Esteban Ocon of Alpine moves up to 5th, racking up some solid points for the team. And the rookie, Andrea Antonelli, finds himself in the points too, finishing 6th.
Not a bad day at the office for a rookie.
Not at all. Alexander Albon, Sainz's teammate at Williams, scores a 7th place finish. And Oliver Behrman, who's still filling in, grabs 8th. Even Lance Stroll managed to sneak into the points with 9th place, adding a couple more points to his total.
So yeah, the ripple effects of these disqualifications were huge, completely reshaped the points distribution. You've got drivers who are outside.
Alonso had been able to continue. What would the final standings look like then?
The hypothetical scenarios. That's what makes Formula One so fascinating. You can always play the what-if game.
All right, let's take a step back for a moment and consider the bigger picture here. These disqualifications are a monumental setback for Ferrari. They came into the weekend with high hopes, especially after Hamilton's sprint race win, but they're leaving empty-handed. 0 points from the main event.
Yeah, it's a harsh reminder that Formula One is a game of millimeters, both literally and figuratively. The FIA doesn't mess around when it comes to enforcing the rules, and the tiniest of errors can have massive consequences.
So what does this mean for Ferrari going forward? Can they bounce back from this? Or will the psychological impact linger?
That's the million-dollar question. They've got the talent, they've got the resources, but this has got to be a huge blow to their morale. They need to regroup, analyze what went wrong, and make sure it doesn't happen again. Because in this sport, if you're not constantly evolving and improving, you're falling behind.
And then you got Williams. Those surprise points for Sainz are a big boost for them, a sign that maybe, just maybe, they're starting to turn things around. It's a glimmer of hope for a team that's been struggling for a while.
Exactly. You can't underestimate the power of momentum in Formula One. A single point can ignite a spark, give the team a renewed sense of belief. It's something to build on, a foundation for future success.
So there you have it, folks. The 2025 Chinese Grand Prix. A race that will be remembered not just for the on-track action, but for the incredible drama that unfolded afterwards. Disqualifications, surprise points, and a whole lot of what-ifs. It was a weekend that proved, once again, that in Formula One, anything is possible.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with one final question. How will this all play out in the races to come? Will Ferrari come back stronger? Will Williams continue their upward trajectory? Will we see more technical infringements and disqualifications? Only time will tell.
We'll be watching closely. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of our deep dive. We hope you found it insightful. Remember to subscribe to F1 Blogs for more in-depth analysis, news, and all things Formula One. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next update. Thanks for joining us.